Good morning students. In today's class we are going to see some topics in unit 2 of digital communication. So we are going to discuss about the delta modulation, adaptive delta modulation and linear predictive coding. So delta modulation, it transmits only 1 bit per sample instead of n bits transmitted in PCM. We saw that in PCM each and every sample will be quantized and then it will be encoded. While we are encoding, the number of bits present in the encoder can vary. In the previous class we saw that each and every bit was transmitted, each and every sample was transmitted as a 3-bit representation, 110, 101, 000 like that. But now in delta modulation, for each and every sample only 1 bit will be transmitted. That 1 bit will be either 0 or it will be 1. So in the basic of a linear DEM, that is a delta modulator, a staircase approximated version of the sampled input is produced. So staircase approximation of the sampled input is produced. The original signal and its staircase approximation is then compared. That comparison will give you a different signal. If the difference signal is going to be positive, then the step will be increased. If it is negative, the step size will be decreased. It will be either increased or decreased by a constant step size represented by delta. So when the staircase approximation signal is increased by delta, then binary data 1 will be transmitted. Else the binary data 0 will be transmitted. So for each and every sample, either 0 or 1 will be transmitted in delta modulation. So this is the diagrammatic representation of delta modulation transmitter, where we have the sampled input signal. If x of t is the actual analog signal, samples of it is taken and the sampled input is represented by x of nts. So that is given to a comparator where you get the present sample and the previous sample. Delayed version, that is staircase approximated version of the previous sample. So the error is calculated. That error is given to a 1-bit quantizer where the output is represented by B of NTS, which can be either 1 or it will be 0. So this is the mathematical expression for a delta modulation. The error between the present sample, that is the sampled value of x of t, and the last approximated sample, which is x cap of NTS, is represented by E of NTS. So E of NTS is the error, which is the x of NTS minus x cap of NTS. So the binary output B of NTS is represented as signum function, delta of signum function of the error E of NTS. So delta will be constant. So signum function, you know that it can be either +1 or -1. So binary data will be plus delta if x of NTS is greater than x cap of NTS. It will be minus delta if x of NTS is less than x cap of NTS. So if the binary data is plus delta, then binary number 1 is transmitted. If binary data is minus delta, then 0 is transmitted. So either 1 or 0, that is a single bit will be transmitted for each and every sample. So this is the diagrammatic representation of delta modulation output. So output will be either 0 or 1. So the pink color diagram is the input x of t, continuous signal x of t. Then we have the staircase approximated signal, which is u of t. So the present sample and the previous sample will be compared here. You can see this is the present sample. So when we take here, this is present and this is the previous sample. You can see present is greater than the previous, so 1 is transmitted. So whenever there is an increase in the amplitude, continuous 1 will be transmitted. Hope you are able to understand. Now in this case you can see this is the present sample and this is the previous sample, so 1 is transmitted. Now in the next case you can see this is the present sample. Present sample is somewhere here at the bottom and the previous sample is at higher value. So the difference in this case is going to be lesser. So 0 will be transmitted. So whenever there is a decrease in the amplitude, always the present sample will be less when compared to the previous sample, right? So in all those cases, zeros will be transmitted. Again, when the amplitude slightly increases, 1 will be transmitted. So based on the amplitude, based on the comparison between the present sample and the previous sample, you have either 0 or 1 that is being transmitted. So you have the step size here. So when the difference is going to be positive, then the step size is going to increase. Otherwise the step size is going to be decreased, but the decrease will be by a constant amount represented by delta. So that's why it is called as delta modulation. So delta modulation receiver, where you have the input signal given to the accumulator. So accumulator basically constructs the staircase approximated signal. You have the delay, and finally the accumulator output is given to the low pass filter to get back the demodulated output. So accumulator basically generates the staircase approximated signal delayed by one sample period represented by Ts, and then it is added to the input signal. So if the input binary is 1, then it adds the step size delta. If it is 0, it reduces the step size by the same amount delta. So low pass filter will smoothen the staircase approximation, and you get back your original analog input signal. So these are the noise that is available in delta modulation. So in the diagrammatic representation, you can see that it is time versus signal amplitude. So this continuous sine signal, continuous wave signal is the analog signal, and here we have the staircase approximated signal. You can see whenever there is a steep increase in the amplitude, the step size, once we fix as delta, you can see that there is a difference between this actual amplitude and the staircase approximated signal because of the step size that we fix. Okay, so such a error we call as slope overload noise. So this slope overload noise will occur for steeply varying input signal where there is a rapid increase in the amplitude, but the step size is going to be small. The step size we have fixed here as some value delta, which is going to remain constant throughout. So since it is only delta here, there is a difference between the actual amplitude and the amplitude of this staircase approximated signal. This we call as slope overload noise occurring due to a lesser value of step size. For example, in this case, if you see, where there is amplitude is varying very less, actual variation in the amplitude is very less, but there is a rapid fluctuation in the staircase approximated signal. The data here, can you see here, the data transmitted is 10, 10, 10. So this is due to the fact that the step size that we have selected is very large for this slowly varying amplitude. So this error is occurring since we are fixing the step size delta. Instead of fixing the step size delta, if we have an increase in amplitude wherever there is a increase in the step size, wherever there is a rapid change in the amplitude, and decrease in the step size wherever there is a very slow variation, then we can avoid this error. So such a type of modulation we call as adaptive delta modulation, where the step size is going to adapt itself depending upon the amplitude of the input signal. Okay. So the main disadvantage of delta modulation is, since the step size delta is going to be fixed, we are going to have slope overload noise and quantization noise. Slope overload noise occurs because it is not able to cope up with the rapidly varying amplitude. Quantization noise occurs because it is not able to cope up with the very slowly varying amplitude. So this is again the same diagram where we have the granular noise and the slope overload noise. Wherever there is a rapid increase in the amplitude, you will have a difference. So this fixed step size is going to lead to this slope overload noise. Similarly, slowly varying amplitude, or almost there is no variation in the amplitude here, but the data that is transmitted will be 0, 1, 0, 1. So this is called as granular noise. So when delta is too small, slope overload noise occurs. and when delta is too large, quantization noise or granular noise occurs. Advantages and disadvantages of delta modulation. Advantage is that only one bit is transmitted per sample, so the bandwidth requirement will be very less. And it is less complicated. It requires only an accumulator, so the complexity of delta modulation is very less. So what is the disadvantage? As we saw in the previous slide, the main disadvantage is, since the step size delta is fixed, it causes slope overload noise and quantization noise, which is also called as, the slope overload noise is also called as startup error, and the granular noise is also called as hunting or the quantization error. So to overcome the disadvantage of delta modulation, we go for adaptive delta modulation, where the step size delta is varied, increased or decreased according to the input amplitude, as I told you. So this adaptive delta modulation is also called as CVSD, which is continuously variable slope delta modulation. So this is the diagrammatic representation where we have the same diagram, that is the accumulator followed by a quantizer, but this quantization and accumulation process will be done based on the quantization will be based on the logic to control the step size. In previous case, we didn't have this logic for controlling the step size. Once the step size delta is fixed, that will remain same. Whether the amplitude is increasing or decreasing, the step size will increase or decrease by a fixed delta. But now in this case, we have a separate logic here. And whatever logic is used here at the transmitter side, the same logic has to be used here at the receiver side also, so that the data can be extracted properly and reconstructed signal can be obtained correctly. So this is the diagrammatic representation. You can see the continuous signal is there, and this is the staircase approximated signal. Here you can see, here there is a rapid change in the amplitude, right? Here the step size is delta, here the step size is delta 2, which is greater than this delta 1. Can you see here? So the step size here is very small, the step size here is very large, step size here is very large. And here, as you come here, the step size is decreasing. Can you see? So this is done by using that step size logic designer. And here also you can see, when the amplitude is slowly varying, the step size is also randomly changing. So this we call as adaptive delta model. So advantages, a better performance can be achieved if the value of delta is fixed. The value of delta changes according to the amplitude of the analog signal. It has a wide dynamic range due to variable step size, better utilization of the bandwidth as compared to delta modulation, and there is a improvement in the signal to noise ratio. Moving on to linear predictive coding. So it is mainly used for speech processing. So linear prediction coding or linear predictive coding is an equivalent to a vocal tract model. LPC is another computational method to compute the vocal tract reflection coefficients. It is used to compute the vocal tract filter coefficients. That is, whenever we speak, certain words are heard properly. So that is basically done by the vocal tract. Whatever work is done by our human vocal tract, the same concept is translated, and that is done by this linear predictive coding, which is basically a speech processor. So this is the speech model used in voice coder, where we have two different generators or two different frequency sources used for generating voiced sound and unvoiced sound. So you know that whenever we say certain letters or words, we have that high frequency coming into picture, like S, F. So they are called as the unvoiced sound, and all others we call as voiced sound. So impulse generator is used for generating the voiced sound, and noise generator, since it is going to be a very high frequency with wide range, it is generated by using noise source. So you have a switch which switches between the voiced and the unvoiced signal, and the input is given to the filter representing the vocal tract. So in our human being, this filtering process is done by our mouth using the tongue, teeth, and other features available. So that process here is done by a filter, which is going to represent the actual vocal tract. Finally, we get the speech signal. So the voiced or the unvoiced signal are passed through the filter. The filter represents the vocal tract. The input signal is filtered in such a way that it required letter is pronounced properly. In vocal tract, this operation, as I told you, is done with the help of our tongue, lip, and teeth. So basically, this LPC is a speech model which is generating an electrical equivalent of sound that is being generated. So this is the diagrammatic representation of LPC transmitter. So we have the input digitized signal represented by X of NTS that is given to the analyzer. The very purpose of the analyzer is to generate the LP coefficients. The synthesized filter will synthesize the speech signal only when the LP coefficients are given as input. So that LP coefficients are extracted from the signal X of NTS using the analyzer. So the synthesizer input and the actual input both are subtracted to find the error signal. So the error signal and the LP coefficients are multiplexed to produce the LPC signal. So finally, we will see the receiver block diagram of LPC. So LPC signal is first given to the demultiplexer. In the previous slide, we saw that the final LPC signal was a multiplexed output, multiplex of the LP coefficients and the error signal. So now when we send the LP signal to the demultiplexer, the error signal and the LP coefficients will get separated. The error signal, the LP coefficient is given to the synthesized filter which will generate the speech. Error is added to it and to get the final output. So it separates the LP coefficient. The demultiplexer will separate the LP coefficient and the error signal epsilon of NTS. The LP coefficient is given to the synthesized filter. The output of the synthesis filter is added to the error to get back the speech. Thank you.